staying with the playoffs, it was the scoring of Matthew Dellavedova and the Cavs bench that led Cleveland to an easy win. Delly led the Cavs in scoring with 19 points for the first time this season and made as many shots as LeBron in less than half the attempts. Delly, lending the king a hand, did a great job on Derrick Rose. In the final two games of the series, wind guarded by Dellavedova, Rose scored just 4 points. In the final two games, again, 21-point loss is the worst home loss in franchise history when facing elimination. Stephen A., you said it appeared as if the Bulls quit. Why is that?
Because they looked absolutely horrid, number one. They looked lethargic, number two. Number three, I mean, they literally looked as if they had already made reservations for the offseason, because the last 3 quarters, Skip Bayless, they scored 42 points. The last 3 quarters, 13 points in the second quarter and the fourth quarter, and 16 in the third quarter. They couldn't hit Broadway if they were standing right on it and it was empty. They couldn't hit anything. It was that bad. And when you know you can't score, then it demoralizes you. Derrick Rose went into the locker room. He came out, seemed disinterested in coming back into the game. Jimmy Butler was just jacking up shots. I thought that of all the things he did to help his stock, and I'm still in support of Jimmy Butler getting his money. He did not make a good showing for himself last night, hitting just 8 of 22 shots from the field. For some reason, Tom Thibodeau, to me, it was the worst game I've ever seen him coach. I couldn't believe it. They were taking about 14 seconds, Skip, to get into their offensive sets. Literally, like 12 to 14 seconds to get into their offensive sets to finally run a play. You can't score. Your best shooter is Mike Dunleavy Jr. No picks were being set for him. Nobody was getting him open. No one was prioritizing getting him the ball. And then to make matters worse, Skip, who's their best offensive player on the front line? It would happen to be that former Los Angeles Laker, Mr. Pau Gasol, who came to Chicago just for this moment. Do you know that he was sat on the bench and for about 9 minutes or what have you, while they couldn't score, while they couldn't score a bucket to save their lives? Tom Thibodeau wouldn't bring him off the bench. And I'm literally sitting across from Pau Gasol, Skip, at this moment. And I'm watching every missed shot. He's going just like this when the Bulls missed a shot. And then he's scowling at Tom Thibodeau. And then Tom Thibodeau finally brings him off the bench, Skip, and Pau Gasol just rolled his eyes at him and just looked at him and then walked to the scorer's table and then sat on the scorer's table and went like this because he couldn't believe he wasn't in the game. I understand that Pau Gasol is a defensive liability. But when you can't score, Skip, the hell with Joakim Noah being on the floor. You get Todd Gibson, you bring him in there. You bring him in there with Pau Gasol, and you do whatever is necessary to put points on the board so you can try to make a run. This is not what Tom Thibodeau did. And when you consider all the noise that has been made about him, this being his last series, because if they lost, he's going to be fired, you can book it. One of the things they pointed out was that the folks in Chicago, the Sam Smiths and everybody else here who cover this team on a daily basis, who know them a hell of a lot better than us, talk about how Ron Adams, the former elite defensive assistant for Tom Thibodeau, was let go, and Paxson and Gar Forman were like, this is a perfect opportunity for you, coach, to bring in an offensive-minded assistant coach, somebody to handle the offense. Tom Thibodeau said, no, I'm running this show. I'm not doing anything. So he controls everything. He wanted the offense. Well, he had it. And it did absolutely nothing to try and save this season. So he's done. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some wholesale changes that are being made, because the Chicago Bulls that we know and love displayed no fight in themselves whatsoever. They embarrassed themselves last night. And they got embarrassed by the Cavs.
I agree they got embarrassed. I do not for a second understand your premise that they quit in this game. Could you please explain? Because Pau Gasol had a pulled hamstring and probably shouldn't have been on the floor to start with. He said he was just gutting it out because it was do or die. And I think Thibodeau watched him operate, or his lack of mobility, and just said, he's useless. Take him out.
Chip.
And in the second half, Pau Gasol played 9.5 minutes and scored 0 points. And Derrick Rose, I don't know what he was doing. You're always getting on my guy in Chicago, Jay Cutler, for riding the bike at halftime of the AFC.
I don't know what
the
Derrick
NFC
Rose was doing
game.
either.
He's over there riding the bike half the time. He played 17 minutes in the second half and scored a total of 2 points. So they just couldn't score the basketball. Meanwhile, neither could LeBron James. And LeBron didn't have his guy Kyrie, obviously tweaked his knee and was sitting. And again, the Cleveland Cavaliers scored a total of 36 points in the second half. That's 72 for the game. That's not up against a defense that quit. Because if you're going to hold a team, LeBron's team, to 36, and the only guy you can't control is Matthew Dellavedova, are you kidding me? He scored 16 in the second half. So, as I tweeted, Delly turned the Bulls to jelly, because he did, because they're looking around like, he made another shot? He made another shot? What is this all about? It was like it wasn't fair.
Let me clarify. When I'm talking about, I'm not saying they didn't care. I'm saying they were so demoralized by their own ineptitude. By the time the fourth quarter arrived, they had nothing left. They had nothing left. That's what I meant. Okay, I didn't mean to say that, you know, they quit like we don't care. I'm saying they got demoralized. They got their heart snatched from them.
That's different than quit to me.
Well, I mean, okay, I got it. To you, to me, there's different forms of it. You can quit because you don't care, or you can quit because you're so demoralized you feel hopeless and helpless that there's nothing you can do. And I thought that the latter is what I meant about them in Chicago. Derrick Rose got outplayed by Matthew Dellavedova. Not only did he get outplayed by Matthew Dellavedova, all of this stuff that folks were talking about, how we're seeing the same Derrick Rose. Oh, no, the hell we ain't. Derrick Rose couldn't shake Matthew Dellavedova's defense. Matthew Dellavedova was D'ing him up.
I know, but listen, he D's up a lot of people. He's pretty good.
I know that. I know that, but I'm just talking about this is Derrick Rose. So clearly, the fact that he did it against Derrick Rose really speaks volume. Not trying to take anything away from Dellavedova. He played one hell of a game. He was incredibly impressive, and he made a name for himself because he will hit open shots, number one, and he plays hard and he defends.
Yep.
He was nightmarish for Derrick Rose. But that hamstring, I'm telling you, I had a courtside seat. I'm watching Pau Gasol. That hamstring was not bothering him. This dude wanted to play. Tom Thibodeau did not pull him off the bench.
Okay,
and Joakim, no.
Wait, are you suggesting maybe that Thibodeau quit on his team because he knows he's on the way out?
No,
okay.
I just think that he did. I just think it wasn't his finest night as a coach. That's all. I'm not going to accuse him of that. I don't think it was because we know Thibodeau cares. That's all he cares about is basketball. I mean, he's a coach. I mean, he's committed, fixated on it. But the point is that he had a bad night. Of things he could have tried that I thought he did not, and it wasn't his finest hour, particularly when all the speculation was that it's going to be his last hour, and you would expect more from him, and it didn't come. And in the end, the bottom line is this: there will be a new coach. And there should be new players because what they have isn't good enough, period.
I'll buy that.
You'll buy that. You'll take that to the bank. Meanwhile, the Cavs await the winner of the Wizards-Hawks series. This is interesting. Fans believe that Michael Jordan is the best player ever. That's not so interesting. But even at the age of 52, some believe he can actually beat LeBron one-on-one. Let's talk about it. You don't agree, huh?
Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all.
Why are we even doing the topic?
Why? For what?
Maybe I should follow Michael Jordan.
Maybe you should follow Michael Jordan. You should follow this guy first, though. Yeah. Me second. We're back in a minute.